Hey guys, Canton 15 back it up with another video for you guys, joined by my Uncle Daryl, and we are finally, well, I won't say finally, but officially back with Chicago Bears content on the channel. There hasn't been any Chicago Bears content on the channel for a while. The last stuff I've been really talking about has been Clippers stuff, but that's my basketball talk. I'm excited for Into It Dome, though. It's opening
Well,
up.
you know what? At least your team does happen to win basketball games, unlike, my team, which is the Chicago Bulls. They don't seem like they know anything about what they're trying to do. So,
Anyways, we're here to talk
yeah,
about the Bears.
yeah.
First game of the season for the Bears started, even though it's preseason. Hall of Fame game. Obviously, some big things happen. Devin Hester is getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. Steve Mongo is getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. The traitor, Julius Peppers, is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I call him a traitor because any Chicago Bear player that plays for the Bears then runs up to Green Bay, I call them a traitor. He may have
Okay,
played for us, but he a traitor at the end of the day, in my books.
okay. All right, that's fair. I didn't like him going to the Packers either. He could have went to a lot of other places, but you know, he went to the
Like
Packers.
Adrian Amos, I view him as a traitor.
Now, I gotta admit, yeah, him on the other hand, I didn't really care for that. To me, him going to the Packers was straight up Bush League, you know,
Good, and the reason why he
like he
went
was
there is because
actually
he just
gonna
didn't
do
get paid by
something.
the Bears.
Yeah, like he was actually gonna do something to get back. And yeah, he did absolutely nothing. I can recall maybe one game he had a decent game against the Bears, but other than that, man, it was Bush League on his part.
Yeah. Regardless, it was a big game. The game actually ended prematurely. The Bears ended up winning the game, but we don't care about wins or losses in
No,
preseason. But the game ended prematurely because the thunderstorms just ended up getting crazy over there in Canton, Ohio. So
yeah,
you can't do nothing about weather related stuff. And
no.
obviously, smart move by the NFL. You're not gonna pick up a game at there's thunderstorm. Just you might as well call the game and get it over with.
Yeah, at least the weather held up long enough for them to get the halftime activities in. I mean, granted, from
Yeah.
where I was, I didn't see him. It was just mostly all the halftime TV talk. So, but yeah, it looked like it was a pretty good event. Glad it happened. Glad it, you know,
I'm still
I
I'm
got it. I'm kind of glad it got rained out because
yeah.
where I am, it's like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah,
and
you're
we're
not watching.
texting
And
each other.
by then that was like the third stringer, so you don't really
Yeah,
care. You just
yeah,
see like, all right,
um,
who potentially is just out there and might spark
right.
your eye a bit.
Right, right.
Um,
And we only really saw two players
yeah,
for the Bears. For
yeah.
me, it was two. You
Um,
know,
my only thing is I kind of wish like maybe the Hall of Fame game maybe be like a regular season game, at a neutral site. I don't know. That's just me. I don't like the Hall of Fame game being a preseason game, and at least the starters won't play one drive. Like if it
right.
was like the first if it was like obviously week one is Ravens versus Chiefs, like that's a Hall of Fame game. And let's play in
And then
con
on top of that, if you look at the way the stands were set up, and when they took a big shot of the field, that game was not sold out.
oh
It
no.
didn't look so. It didn't look sold out to me. So I mean, I agree with you on that assessment. If you can do that week one, neutral site, you can even pick two teams at random. Yeah,
Yeah.
that stadium will sell out because there's something to actually play for.
Hmm.
But you got preseason games, you got your second string quarterback starting, and then your third string quarterback is going to finish the game, and then you got a bunch of other, lesser known players that we probably may not hear about throughout the season that are playing, healthy and long minutes. So
Well,
uh,
it's like the whole thing is like Hall of Fame. Like if you put like,
cash grab,
Ravens and Chiefs are opening up the season, like there's Hall of Famers on those each of those teams, if not
yeah,
future ones.
yeah.
So like that would be a great opening game to start the season off in the Hall of Fame game. And Ken and I understand that takes away from like maybe the Chiefs like getting their Super Bowl rings. Well, then put on another team.
Or even better yet, still give them their Super Bowl rings, before the game.
Yeah.
and then do the halftime ceremonies with the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Switch it up. To me, it was just a cash grab.
Yeah. Well, that's what it
Preseason,
always
you got
is.
to have a reason for folks to come out,
Yeah.
for a preseason game because your fans that are highly knowledgeable about this kind of thing, they're not gonna come to. They're gonna pay that money for a preseason game.
Yeah.
So and they might, especially, but at a neutral site, man, I, I I just don't see the allure of going to a preseason game in at a neutral site, and you don't even get to see your top guys play, not even a series.
Yeah. Unless I guess you're attending, looking at the Hall of Fame museum, and you're attending the ceremony. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the only way.
yeah,
But before we
yeah.
talk about the game, some Bears news dropped out. That's why I didn't make a video about it like instantly the day it came out. DJ Moore ended up signing an extension, 4-year deal.
Yep,
Um, got a big time deal. And
yep.
honestly, really ain't getting paid much. He's getting like 82 million guaranteed anyways. But I
Yeah, I
thought it
think
was a
it's
solid.
110 total.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid deal. Hey, pay him now before he gets to the end of a contract, and then he's like, "All right, I want all this money." And plus, you have all these other receivers that are asking for
Correct,
all this crazy money. You know,
correct.
get it
And
done
you got
now.
Keenan
So that,
Allen is up next. And that could have been the focus of why we got to get DJ Moore done now because when Keenan contract comes up, I mean, right now, what is he at? 28 million,
yeah,
something like that. I mean, uh,
I could see them completely front loading that contract.
yeah, I can see it too. 2, maybe 3 year deal,
Hmm.
front loaded with a bunch of incentives. I can see it, but I mean, he's gonna cost a pretty penny if you want to retain him. So, but I also think that they probably won't wait. They're not going to rush with Keenan Allen, I don't think, and I wouldn't either because you really don't know what Rome Odunze is going to be like.
Yep.
Rome could actually be, you know, and I'm going to Randy Moss. He could be that type of receiver in which they'll be like, "Hey, Keenan, thanks but no thanks. We're gonna go ahead and save this 28 million, and we're gonna go ahead and let you go at the end of the year." So I'm assuming that's the hope,
Hmm.
especially with the way this receiver acted a fool in this one game tonight. So
Yeah, Colin Johnson or whatever his name is.
Colin Johnson, he was you know decently impressive.
Yeah.
Decent,
The good thing about the DJ Moore contract, it locks him up for 4 years. So by the time he's
correct,
27 right now, so by the time the
correct.
deal ends, he'll be 31, which means
31,
you potentially could pay him one more time.
correct.
Um, and even by then, if you give him another 4-year deal, he'll be 35 at the end of the contract. And then at that point, it's like either you're more than likely retiring, or maybe if we want to be generous, we'll give you like a 1 or 2 year deal, but it's going to be a team friendly deal. And you
And
take it.
keep in mind, during that 4 years,
Hmm.
I mean, you still have, Williams and Roma Duze
Rookie con.
on their rookie deals. So you can, do certain things to, get other players in and build other players up so that when this contract is over, he'll be 31. You're in a position to say, yeah, let's go ahead and hook you up for another 4, or let's just, what, hey, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. And who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe the Bears get another wide receiver just to replace
correct,
in there at that point in time.
correct, correct.
Because by
You know,
then you would expect Roma Dunze to be the number one.
correct. Especially by then,
Yeah.
you know. Komet's another one. I mean,
Hmm.
his deal is going to be over right around the same time.
Yeah, I think because they showed a graphic on tonight's game. They said basically a bunch of Bears, their basically deals won't end till 2027.
Correct. That's correct. 2027, 2028. That's right around that time where these contracts are going to expire, and it's going to be right around Caleb Williams's 4th year,
Hmm.
which is that's when you need to make that decision as far as if you're going to bring him back for that 5th, or you're going to go ahead and
Lock him up.
yep, lock him up. So uh, Ryan Poles is not being he's being smart.
Yep.
I gotta admit, I I've never said that the dude ain't doing his job. Ryan Poles is doing a fantastic job putting this roster together. And now it's just a matter of these coaches, getting these guys on the field to play so they can perform 100%.
Yeah, there's still some things he needs to do. I still
Of
think he
course, of
massively
course,
needs to invest in the trenches. He still
of course, of
massively
course.
needs to, whether that's offensive line, actually just both. Preferably I
Correct.
go offensive line before I go defensive line, but either or, that's the thing. That's the last thing, honestly. Because I'm fine with the outsides. The outsides, the position players, they're all fine with
Yes,
me. It's the
yes,
trenches right now that are an issue.
correct. The running back room, as I texted you earlier today, it looks good. The wide receiver room, especially with Colin Johnson playing the way he played today, looks good. Dante Pettis, we texted about him, and Velus Jones. So maybe, we can probably, do something else with those two guys because they just, uh, yeah, they just. I don't think they're gonna be with us next year, either one of them.
Yeah.
So right now, I think they're just spot fillers until they can get some other guys to step up. Scott looks promising,
Hmm.
so we'll see. But the main thing is winning at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be our key this year. Can we stop the run? Can we run the ball? And although we did run the ball fairly well in this particular game, and we did stop the run,
Really,
to
really
some
later
extent in
in the
this
game.
game.
Honestly,
Yeah, that first drive, I don't know what the heck they were doing,
the
but
first couple of drives, they let them go down the field fairly
right down the
easy. I
middle.
understand you're playing basic defense, but at the
Right,
end of the day, it's
right,
1v1.
right, right. And I gotta admit, I just, it looked like, and I gotta admit, it's preseason, so we know the defenses are vanilla. That's the reason why they didn't play their starters, because we play the Texans what, week two?
Yeah, we play week two. I think they
Week
just don't want
two.
to get
So
any.
it's like you don't want to give them
They
too
even
much.
sat Tory Taylor, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, come on now. They got a really game plan how
yeah. All he
far he
all he
punts
did
deep.
all he did was spot for kicks, hold for kicks. So I get it. I understand totally, you know. So you don't really want to get, you know, the other team too much information.
Which
But, this
yeah,
game right here was based on um no starters
yeah,
and the new special team rules. And
yeah. What's the thought about the kickoff?
you know what? I'm not gonna tell you a tale. I did like it. The only thing is just like if you can beat that first guy,
Hmm.
you can make big runs if you can beat that first guy.
Yeah,
And the blocking has got to be pristine.
yeah.
It's got to be pristine. So I noticed that Scott had a couple of problems on kickoff. It was one, he ran directly into the defender, and I'm looking at him like, dude, don't you see him? He
Gonna
wearing a,
kick. I'm
he's
dang near
wearing a
killed
white
himself.
jersey, dude, and you run right into him.
Almost killed himself doing that too.
Yeah. I'm like, so basically, if you can beat that first guy, um, if the tackles are, if the blocking is great, and the special team coordinators are probably going to have to do a little bit extra just to make sure that the blocking is fine. But for the most part, just what you said earlier, it's 1v1. You gotta handle your guy.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, interesting if they change it, if they do this for the college game, which then transfers
not
over
sure,
to the high school game.
not sure,
So
not
we'll
sure.
see.
But if it works in the pros, it's going to trickle down to the lesser levels, so that these kids can get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, but
Um,
all in all, I did like it. Um, I just think that, yeah, you're going to get more kickoffs,
mhm.
but the blocking has got to be pristine, so pristine that when that runner, that returner comes up against that first guy, if he beats that first guy, you might see a little bit more a little bit more touchdowns this year on kickoffs.
But yeah, but honestly, they're kind of insensitising the kid because if you kick it to for basically the goal line, you're basically putting the team on the 30-yard line to start off their
Correct.
drives. Which I'm like,
Correct. That's why
that's a
that's why
dual-edged sword you're dealing with.
right. That's why I saw a lot of kickers trying to kick the ball shorter to encourage those returns because the defense is a lot closer to the football.
Yeah.
So you may see, depending on who's back there, like if you got a Devin Hester back there, yeah, kick that crap right into the end zone.
Hmm.
You got that kind of returner back there, yeah, kick it into the end zone and just take it on the 30. But if you got freaking Tyler Scott, yeah, kick it right to that joker because he's just gonna run into the he's just gonna run into people wearing the opposite jersey. You
Yeah.
know, that's all it take is just a little film. I don't know what the heck he was looking at, or why, I don't even know why he was trying to go to the sideline.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't even know because I saw how the Texans were playing. They were basically holding firm on the sides and encouraging
Up the
um,
middle.
up the middle, and the guys in the middle, they were basically just running cross seams so that they can penetrate in the middle. Well, I guess Scott was like, hey, I can just go right on the outside. Yeah, okay, all right, well,
Yeah.
you saw what you got.
He also slipped too. He also on the first one.
You were talking about, you know what, I'm gonna let you have it, the field, bro, go ahead.
Okay, don't look. Maybe it had something to do with the precipitation because there was rain in the area, but at the end of the day, there was no rain when the game started off.
No.
I couldn't
Mm-mm.
even count how many times players were slipping and sliding. It wasn't just the Bears. There were a few Texans players just slipping as well.
The one that got me, and I know I texted you about this, it was, I think, Roshan Johnson's
Mm-hmm.
second run.
Yep.
He ran for a first down. He slipped on the grass. And I'm like, dude, he had a freaking touchdown. He had a touchdown and slipped on that grass. And I think shortly after that is when he had that run for 19 yards. But I'm just like, man, they running all over the Texans.
Yep.
And this field is killing them.
Yeah, like the first Texans touchdown, the linebacker in coverage, if he don't slip, he probably makes the tackle and at least it's
Problem.
first and goal.
Yeah.
Now I don't know why they didn't. Maybe this is the first time they checked the field, but that field was in no good position. Now I see why they probably didn't want to play no starters, other than the game planning reason. If I'm seeing my starter slip and slide, next thing you know, because if you're slipping and sliding, you could potentially injure yourself
That's
because of
true.
bad
They could
turf.
have looked at the weather report. I'm pretty sure they had a walkthrough in which usually during those walkthroughs, that's when they check the field and the surroundings and the environment. And they were probably just like, no, dog, we ain't playing on this shit. Well, I'm not putting my guys on this,
Yeah,
you know. So I'll just come out with, Tyson Bagent and he'll get a series or two. And then we just gonna go with the third string the rest of the game.
yeah.
Let's just go with a bunch of guys when which we probably not gonna keep half of them anyway.
Yeah, the field, I don't know why. The field was almost as bad as that Super Bowl from 2 years ago. How bad the field was. Heck,
Yeah,
if I
this
want to be
field was
honest, that field, the way they were slipping and sliding, it was like old Chicago or old Soldier Field from like way before, you
yep.
know, the Eberflus Poles era. It took until Poles to finally get the right dang type of turf they want, and now Soldier Field at least has s solid turf. It's not the best, but it's still good enough to play on.
Yeah. So it was bad. It was bad. But I think
And it was isn't that turf artificial turf?
no, that was grass.
That's
I thought
grass.
I thought that was grass.
It looked like artificial turf to me.
It could have been, but it looked just like grass. I thought they were getting away from that, that they don't
Artificial
call it
turf.
artificial turf anymore. They call it something else. But basically, yes, it is an artificial turf.
It's like a
Some of
hybrid.
it wasn't like the field that we were on when your sister graduated. I think it
Yeah.
was a little bit more softer than that. But yeah, they were slipping all over the place.
Yeah. Regardless, the Bears played the Texans. I do kind of wish Caleb Williams at least played one drive, but I see why they didn't want to. They didn't want to get any tape
Yeah,
on Caleb
yeah.
Williams because for some odd reason the league just decided to
And keep in
schedule the
mind, he
game.
just signed too. So
Yeah.
um,
Um, I
and
don't.
his signing bonus was noise.
Yeah, they did that. They showed a clip from Hard Knocks, which is coming out on August 6th. You just had that where he talked about he's like, I'm Caleb Williams, went to OU, went to USC. I got a $25 million signing bonus. And then you
Signing
just have
bonus.
Ty Bajan just losing his mind over there.
But you know
Uh,
what? Hard Knocks is going to be pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, and I guess we can talk about that another day.
Hmm.
But the game itself, um, I liked what they did with Brett Ripien. They drew plays more for him to go down the field. They didn't do that with Bajan though. With Bajan, it was a lot of play
Check
action.
downs, play
Yeah,
action.
check down, play actions. I'm like, dude, if he's your number two, you guys are you guys running plays that specifically designed to his skill set and his strengths? Because man, Brett Ripien he was down the field, Jack. That's all he did. He was he wasn't thinking about checking down. He was, you know, I like it could have just been the plays that they set up specifically for him. But
Yeah,
I
there
thought Brett
potentially could
Ripien,
be backup QB
yeah,
battle right there.
yeah. So
Uh,
I would like to see the plays that they call for Ripien. I would like to see them call similar plays
for
for
Bajan.
Bajan, so you can gauge which one needs to be your number two. They did that like they already know Bajan's number two.
Yeah, they only gave him really one drive, which honestly I was like, okay, maybe give him two or three, but other than that, like,
Correct. Correct. I just
of
now
course, it's
granted,
like, of course, Ripien's going to stand out more because he had more drives to actually go down the field.
absolutely,
Bajan only had that one drive. They were going
absolutely.
down the field, and then the freaking Tommy Sweeney, he got false start.
Yeah, the false start, then the fumble.
Hmm.
But after that,
He cleaned it up.
he had two really good catches, So yeah, he was, okay. Um, the first pass that went to Johnson was right in his chest
Yep.
and he dropped it,
Yep.
So granted he had three receptions, but he had two drops that was in his hands.
Yeah.
So and I'm pretty sure that's something that he'll shore up, especially when he's in the game with better talent.
Hmm.
But offensively, the Bears' passing game, the running game, it
Yeah,
looked
especially the
good.
running game.
Yeah, especially the running game because Khalil Herbert was
He
man,
even
he was.
he even played. Do you think there's something into that? Like, okay,
Of
the
course,
Bears are like, we might trade you at the deadline if we have a
of
chance.
course. I mean, he pretty much got the lion's share of the snaps last year at the running back position, and now he's relegated to number two.
Yeah,
Actually, believe it or not, he was number three.
you're number three because Roshan
Yeah,
Johnson started.
Johnson was the second back or second tailback out there. So
It
yeah,
might be something to look out for.
might be something to look out for.
I
So
just think they might just move off on him because it's like, okay, you can pass catch and you can run great, but when we need the pass block, well, that leaves a lot to be desired.
that's true. So and I mean, the rule of thumb with football, you can always get a running back.
Yep.
They come a dime a dozen, especially with the way the game is played today.
And isn't he in his last year of his contract?
He probably is. He's been there for what,
Three,
four,
4 years?
maybe 4 years. Pretty sure he is in this fourth. In which case, after this year, I can't see them, signing him for anything longer than that.
Yeah.
So this is the time to really take advantage of him. And if we're not doing as well as we should, yeah, trade him.
Yep. I
But
like the running game.
DeAndre Swift obviously is going to get the lion's share of the carries.
Yep.
And Roshan Johnson, he played well now.
Yeah.
He played well as too. So, but you still got to win at the line of scrimmage. And that offensive line, we don't know anything about because
Yeah.
they didn't play.
Yeah.
They didn't play.
I thought the backups for the offensive line did well. They did
Yeah,
well. No
but they
sacks.
did it against other backups.
Yep. Um, trying to think. I am kind of disappointed that Bayless Jones didn't play in today's game. I would think on a
You
guy, yeah,
disappointed that Velus Jones didn't play.
or no, he should have. Yeah, he should have played tonight. In my opinion,
Wow.
he's one of those guys that is on the bubble. But I
So
just
I
have a.
can get you right there, get you right there in my ear, so you can tell me exactly how much you don't like him and he needs to be gone. And
I think he should have been gone last year. My problem
I
is I
know,
think Ryan Poles has a thing for him.
well,
He
yeah,
just
he drafted him.
I personally say just give up on the dude, but
He
regard
drafted him, and he drafted him over George Pickens, and I'm pretty sure that he gets that a lot. So he probably wants to hold on to him just in the event Bayless has a breakthrough season, so he can say, "See what I tell you about Bayless Jones."
He ain't having no breakthrough season. Roma Dunze is
You
the
know,
one that's gonna have the breakout season.
well, so we'll see. I mean, I
He's
I
a guy in
think
the bubble, in my opinion. He's a guy in the
yeah, I
bubble.
think I think
Why
the
he
wide
didn't
receiver
play?
room is really strong. I mean, we already know who the top three wide receivers are. After that, you got Johnson, you got Scott, you got Jones,
Scott's
you
my
got
number 4 right
Pettis.
now.
Who?
Scott's my number 4.
Scott's the number 4.
I would say Scott. I would say Scott's number 4. Right now, it's a battle between Johnson and Bayless, who's number 5.
Well, after what I saw today, man, I don't think
Yeah.
Bayless is in the picture because
Oh yeah. Games
I
like,
would go I
see,
would
if
go
I
with
was
Johnson
Bayless
at 4.
after today's game, if I was Bayless, I'd go up to Eberflus. Let me play that first game, or technically the second preseason
Yeah,
game.
yeah. But I gotta admit, if Scott puts together another performance like that in the second game, I would say Scott is that number 4. I mean, not Scott. Johnson is that
Johnson.
number 4 because I
Yeah, he's
mean
six. He's 6 feet tall.
he's big. He's 6. He's big. 6. I think they were saying something like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, and he
They were
made
saying
he made some
Johnson's
really
pretty
good
tall.
contested catches too.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
even the one that ended up being overturned, I don't know why D'Amico Ryans is challenging in a measly preseason game, but that's just me. Um, he made 2 really good contested catches. I like them. I'm like, okay, he gets up there, he high points the football. He's going
Yep.
up there over the DB, and usually
Yep.
DBs are smaller than receivers.
Yep.
As long as the ball's put in the right area, then you'll be
And
able to
his
do
2
it.
touchdowns, he was wide open.
Yeah. So he gets open
Wide,
too. He creates separation, which
wide open.
which
And even
again,
that first catch,
mhm,
that first well, it's not a catch. It was a drop. That first pass that came to him, I think he was shocked. That's why he didn't catch it. I think
yeah.
he was shocked he was open, you know. So I'm like, hey, um, Moore number 1, Allen number 2, Adunze number 3, Johnson 4. I can't put Scott, Jones, and Pettis above what Johnson did in this one game. Now, if he can repeat that, great. Pat myself on the back. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to me, he has got to do something really, really, really wrong moving forward to lose that number 4 spot in that wide receiver room.
I would say he's the 5 right now. I just feel
Yeah.
like they're really high
We
on
still
tight
got
end.
St. Brown though, right?
Now St. Brown's on the Saints now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, for me, Johnson did enough to get that number 4. He did enough. He did more in that one. To me, he did more in this one game, even though it was against Vanilla D. Well, actually, the Texans played man. Than what Johnson. I mean, not Johnson. Pettis, because Pettis.
Yeah.
We talked about Pettis last year, and we thought he should be gone too. Jones, Scott has not really shown that he can crack that for me.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he's shown that he's going to be a special teams guy, returner.
There's good things
Jones,
coming out of him in practice. So
yeah, returner, and Pettis can run. Pettis seems like he can, you know, run the route tree, but as you saw when he muffed the punt, it's just like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's funny. They started talking about the rain, and then he muffed the punt. I'm like,
yeah. That's probably what he did too. It's wet. It's just wet out there. They need to call this game.
defensively, outside the first couple of drives, it didn't look too good. Like they weren't getting no pressure. They weren't really
Yeah.
stopping the run. They were
They didn't
having
get a
some
sack
coverage.
until the third quarter.
Yeah. They were having some busting coverage. Like there was
Yeah.
times where you have the running, they're staying back in the zone. They have a running back legitimately like going out just into the flats. I'm watching the play happen, and the running back's just running scot-free to the flat as you have Mills
Yeah.
or whatever quarterback like basically move out to the flats. I'm like, dude, just cover the flats and everything's covered. And then
Well,
next
the
thing you know,
touchdown to Cam Akers, specifically the same thing.
yeah.
touchdown to Cam Akers. And I'm just like, dude,
He's
is
like wide
somebody going to
open,
cover him?
wide
You
open. And
playing
mind you, before that touchdown, they called a timeout. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah,
Look, again, obviously with the ones, it's gonna be a lot different. But if I'm
correct.
seeing this exact stuff with the ones, then okay, Eberflus, what are we calling again on defense?
Correct. And I get
Because
it. It's preseason. You want to throw out these vanilla defenses just so you don't really show what you're trying to achieve on defense. I get it. I get it. But when the running back goes uninvaded to the end zone and nobody around him, and you guys and the offense started on the 5 yard line, I'm sorry, you got to cover that.
yeah, like
And
he
there
was,
was no one,
yeah.
there was no one around him.
I saw that. I'm like, what the heck are we doing? Come
Yeah,
on now,
there was
way
no
better.
one around.
That's clearly they're
So,
good. That defensive string is clearly going to get chewed out in the film session because I know I
of
would.
course, of
Uh,
course.
it's either between the corner or the linebacker. It's like somebody
Oh,
got
that was
picked out.
linebacker's responsibility
Oh
right
yeah,
there. Yeah, definitely linebacker. I would probably go as far as to say middle linebacker because it was more close to the center within the numbers. But I mean, he was so far back that I mean, and it was clearly a zone
yeah.
because I think Eberflus's thing is zone defense.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah, that's something that's got to get fixed out again.
yeah,
If the first stringers are just letting running backs go free into the flats, well, then I'm gonna have problems.
yeah. And again, we probably won't be able to really truly gauge how good the front seven is until our starters actually get in.
Yeah,
And, the big thing for me is going to be who's going to be rushing the passer opposite Montez Sweat.
yeah,
Um, are they going to continue with that cover two base defense?
it better not.
Yeah, because obviously that's Eberflus's thing, you know. So we'll see. People are putting so much emphasis on, hey, a rookie has never come into the league with this much offensive support. They're putting all the emphasis on that and nothing on the defense. That defense has got to perform
Yep.
for the offense to be good.
Yeah.
So, it's one thing to score, 30, 35 points, but if you're giving up 35, 42 points, then,
Yeah,
you know,
that's not doing anything for you.
that's not good.
And
So
especially with the fact that the media keeps saying, "Well, this is a top 10 defense coming in the end of the year." I'm like, yeah, that's
yeah,
because Flus actually had to basically be told, change up your defensive strategy, get more aggressive.
correct. And then on top of that, that was last year.
Yeah.
You can actually say last year you snuck up on some people because your season was really over. So let's just, you change some things up. Whereas this year, you know, people talking about, you got the number one pick overall, you got all these great players, and defenses are looking at that. So now, people are going to be looking at not only your offense and what your defense has got to do to stop it, but they're going to be also looking at, what did you all do well last year? And you all have got to do the same things and get better. And NFL is a copycat league. So, you got to be able to be new and inventive. And so we'll see if Eberflus can do it, you know, piggyback off of what he did the last 8 games
Hmm.
of the season last year and see if he can carry it forward to this year. We'll see. But, you know, first game is not going to be easy.
Yeah. Only thing we have in our favor is Hopkins might be out for that game. He hurt
Still
himself.
not going to be easy.
I know it's still not gonna be easy, but regardless, you take Hopkins away from Levis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
And, there's no, what scares me about the Titans, though, is that, you know, you don't know anything about how they're going to come at you.
yeah,
They don't have Derrick Henry. He's in Baltimore. and you kind of wonder if they're going to new head coach. So you
Mm-hmm.
kind of wonder if they're going to, play the typical smash mouth football that we know the Texans, not Texans, the Titans like to play, or are they going to open it up a little bit? We really just don't know. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be watching some preseason, but it's still going to be the same vanilla stuff.
Yep.
And then week 2 we got the Texans, and
That's terrible scheduling. You have the Hall of Fame game be Bears versus Texans, and then week 2 it's Bears versus Texans. Who
correct.
does that scheduling?
I don't. I,
Mind you,
I,
that game's prime time, so we know how we suck on prime time, anyways.
yeah, yeah.
I've already scheduled made that a loss.
I still would have made the Hall of Fame game. That's a game, regular season game. If they decide to do it,
That should
that's a
be.
game they should have with the Packers.
Oh,
Neutral site,
I couldn't do that shit. I couldn't do that. No, no.
neutral site. That's a well, no. The rivalry is so big, you can't have a neutral site for that one.
I don't even call it a rivalry anymore until the Bears actually start winning games in that series.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. Because Matt LaFleur is a really good coach. I really do like him. So we'll see. I mean, but I think we got a good shot at least splitting with them this year. I
Yeah.
mean, if the Bears are healthy, just like any other NFL team, if the Bears are healthy, um, I didn't see a lot of depth from the defense, and that's what concerns me
Yep.
is the depth. If like last year, we had some serious injuries on the defense, specifically the secondary, and we had no one coming up behind Brisker when he got hurt. We had no one at all, and I think a couple of our linebackers got hurt too, if I'm correct, last year. And we
Hmm.
had no one really coming up behind them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah. Later in the game, the defensive line ended up turning out. I did see Austin Booker. He ended up playing a little better. I think he got a sack tonight too.
I think
Um,
they only had one sack, if I'm correct.
yeah, only one sack.
Yeah, and
They
that's
would have
when
probably had more if the game didn't end prematurely, but
probably,
that's when the
probably
defense was actually starting to heat up and starting to figure it out a bit.
correct.
And that was against
Well,
Case Keenum.
they did throw in some different looks in the third quarter.
Hmm.
They threw a cover one look with the safety coming up to the line of scrimmage. A couple of times he did blitz, and then there was one time I see him drop. I saw him dropping back in the coverage. So they did show the Texans a couple of different looks defensively, and it seemed to work. But all in all, they really only got pressure to the quarterback from what I saw just that one time in which they got a sack. But I would hope that they would get more pressure moving forward on the quarterback.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here. Next preseason game is against the Bills in Buffalo. Hopefully the starters play at least a series or two.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I would expect Caleb Williams to play that game. Let's just
Yep.
hope he does not get his head taken off like Justin Fields did against the Bills.
Yep.
So
Or just use the running game the way it's intended. He'll be fine.
yeah. So yeah. I also did like I know we didn't get a chance. I did like the fact that we managed to do a 2-minute drive before the half ended too. So that was
That
good.
was pretty cool. But again, the defenses were vanilla. I mean, the
Yeah.
middle was wide open, and you know, I mean, wide open.
Yeah.
But Ripien was looking downfield the entire time. And that's why they shifted from a zone defense to a man defense in the third quarter. And, Johnson got him too, because it was just all vanilla.
Anyways, we're gonna get out of here. We'll
Yep.
be back probably next week for Bills versus Bears. So until then, guys, peace.
Later.